Hello, this is Wellington with PX5, and today I'll show you how to use condition variables with PX5 RTOS. As a quick recap, condition variable is one of the communication objects available on PX5 RTOS. We'll use condition variable so that threads can wait for the data they need or to some state to be reached. Before we can use a condition variable, we must first initialize it. We do that with a pthread called init API call, passing the handle of the condition variable to initialize, any optional attributes, and then checking the return for errors. After initializing, we can call the pthread const signal to resume the highest priority thread currently waiting on this condition variable. We pass the handle of the condition variable to signal and we check the return for errors. A call to the pthread const wait API will suspend the thread on the condition variable specified by the condition var handle. Please notice that before calling this API, the thread must have obtained the mutex specified here by the mutex handle. Internally, PX5 RTOS will release the mutex atomically with the thread suspension. And then, upon the return, the calling thread will again own the specified mutex regardless of completion status. Then finally, we can check the return for errors. Okay, it's demo time. As always, main starts running and creating variables, thread handles, and a memory area. Notice we also created the conditional data example, which is a global variable that must be protected from concurrent access. To achieve that, threads can only update this variable if they own the mutex. Then in line 4, we start PX5 RTOS by providing a random number for pointer data verification. We explain what that is in a different video. Then memory area, and then the size of the area. Next, this will convert main into a thread running at the default priority. Next, to create a mutex, we need to call the mutex init and then provide a handle to the mutex and any parameters we need, in this case, null. See, the mutex shows up here now, unlocked. Next, to create a condition variable, we need to provide a handle to the condition variable to initialize and any attributes needed. So the condition variable is created. Next, to create another thread, we need to provide the handle to the new thread and the entry point for this new thread. Like so, here we see that the child thread has been created, also with the default priority of 16, same as main, and it is ready and waiting to run. At this point, main yields, allowing child to run. Child is now running and it will increment its counter, now at 1. And then it will try to lock the mutex. Since the mutex was available, the mutex is now owned by the child thread. Next, the pthread condition wait API call will suspend this thread on the condition variable declared, in this case, this one. Also notice that this thread must own the mutex specified in this call, and it does. And internally, PX5 RTOS will release this mutex atomically with this thread suspension. Like so, child thread has now been suspended, the mutex has been released, and the child thread is waiting on the condition variable. Main resumes its operation and it will increase the counter, now at 1. After that, it will try to lock the mutex, which it does because the mutex is available. Now that main thread owns the mutex, it can update this condition data example variable, the shared resource. It's now updated to 1. Next, main will use the condition variable signal to alert the child thread that there is data available. This will unblock the child thread, which will be ready to run, like so. child is ready, but since it has the same priority as main, it won't preempt main. Back to main now. Main will unlock the mutex and yield. With the wait for the condition variable satisfied, child thread resumes and checks for the data. Then it clears the value, now at 0, and finally it releases the mutex. Back to the top, it increments the counter, and so the whole process starts again. Well, that's the demo we have for today. As always, if you want to get started, please make sure to check our website, PX5RTOS.com. You can email us with questions, requests for information, or a quote at info@px5rtos.com. Thank you for your interest.